Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2 of the GEST Dota 2 Philippines Qualifiers Grand Finals. We're casting TNC versus Mafia, and in game number 1, TNC took it back and forth at the start, but for the most of the mid to late game, it was just a very convincing one-sided game. I felt for the most part it was the strategy and the hero picks that saw TNC through successfully in that game, and they're going to start it off by picking up a Rubik as the first pick. TA got banned out. They didn't want to deal with it this time. Interesting they would choose to go that way, even though they shut the TA down quite well in the mid game through a combination of just having a lot of disables, a couple of different damage sources through Chen creeps, and then most importantly, they had themselves a Batman. Well, Batman saved the day, saved Gotham, if you will, in game number 1, the city of the netcom. But we'll have to see if he can do it in game number 2. If they even go for it, tied is the response for Mafia. And I should mention, of course, I'm your host, LD, of dotacommentaries.com. And if you enjoy my casting, you can catch all the action for any games you missed from earlier in this tournament for the GST Dota 2 Philippines Qualifiers on my YouTube channel. I'll upload all the VODs there, youtube.com/ldDOTA. They're also available on the Twitch channel, but I know for a lot of you guys from Southeast Asia, you have some issues with lag for those VODs, so hopefully you'll have less issues with the lag for YouTube. So if you want to watch any of the games that you missed, that's a great place to go. But we're here game number 2, and the question is, can Mafia find a better way to lane their heroes? Can they find a draft that works better for them? This I like a lot. They pick up the Prophet. I think we cast them earlier today. They ran the Prophet, and they ran a lone Druid, I want to say. It was a couple of heroes that just push very effectively. They're very durable. They have lots of laning options, and it doesn't force you into anything. Whereas in the previous game, the way that they drafted, it was clear they had to run an offensive tri-lane. They didn't really have an alternative. At first, they tried to throw a dual lane up top, but you can't really dual lane against a hero like Chen, and you can't dual lane against a solo as strong as Weaver, especially when he's getting pulls. So the way they drafted just really limited their options in the first stage as to what they could do in the second, and then from there, they were kind of backed into a corner. But when you open with Tidehunter Prophet, both these heroes are so versatile that you can go any direction. You can throw either of them into the off lane. Both of them are decent solo mids. Prophet can jungle. Tide can play support. He can roam a little bit. The world is your oyster as far as these picks go, and it doesn't commit you to anything, but it gives you great team fight. It gives you a little bit of pushing. Just everything about this opening is versatile, and I think that's really what you need against a team like TNC. It's funny, too, because this is almost a European way to open a draft for Mafia. Getting the Nature's Prophet, getting the Tidehunter. I guess it's kind of reminiscent of how, some of the other Southeast Asian teams outside of the Philippines like to play. As we see Bounty Hunter picked up rather early to see him picked. But it's really not something we see a whole lot of in the Philippines. We see Tidehunter occasionally, we see Prophet occasionally, but they're not the most popular picks. It's normally these heroes that are really powerful solos like Queen of Pain, like Templar Assassin, solo mid, maybe something tanky like a Dragon Knight or a Slardar, and then just some sort of really powerful tri-lane. Heroes like Earthshaker, Weaver, Rubik, Ancient Apparition, CK, all these kinds of picks. So it's a little bit of a variation. And, well, there you go. There's your triumvirate. Push, disables, team fight galore. No carry selected, though. And one thing I will say is this could be a tough game for Nature's Prophet. Up against Bounty Hunter and up against the mobility he has, just showing up out of nowhere, having a way to cancel your TPs. Split pushing is dangerous against these types of heroes, especially Chaos Knight Rubik as well, having so many stuns. Now we enter the second stage of the draft. And we have to ask ourselves, what are these teams going to ban? What do they need? What are they lacking? TNC, almost certainly if they're offlane, that's pretty much the only place the Bounty Hunter has ever played. So offlane for the Bounty Hunter could be a solo mid Rubik and then a tri-lane Chaos Knight, or it could be a tri-lane with the Rubik Chaos Knight, and then you're still looking at a solo and another support. So they either need a solo mid and then a tri-lane support, or they're going to need 2 tri-lane supports, depending on how they want to run this. So either way, banning out heroes like Disruptor, very smart. That's what Mafia wants to get rid of. Meanwhile, on the side of TNC, what are they concerned about? What is Mafia lacking that they need to pick up? I wouldn't be surprised either if Mafia maybe bans something like Ancient Apparition, a very powerful combo hero to have with Chaos Knight. And I guess the question is, what is TNC really gonna need? Or sorry, what is Mafia gonna need? I think it's gonna be a Tidehunter Shadow. It might be a Tidehunter offlane. I think they like to run it that way. We saw TNC do it last game. So if it's Tidehunter offlane, that's Prophet in the jungle most likely. Shadow Shaman playing support. Then you're looking at picking up a solo mid and something to farm that safe lane, maybe a carry of some kind. And what's left as far as our solo mids go? Queen of Pain is available. This time I looked first at the bans before I opened my big fat mouth, so yeah, I got it right. Screw you, screw all you haters in the chat. Screw you! No, I'm just kidding. But Invoker's available as well. Frankly, he's been very hit or miss today. Sometimes he's just been amazing with the Sunstrikes, and then other times just getting shut down pretty hard.
5 seconds remaining.
Just having a little bit of fun with you guys. Venomancer, another very strong tri-lane support. So both teams really showing that they understand the draft. Although for TNC, these are kind of wacky bans. I mean, yes, they could run the Morphling as their safe lane farmer. That one's not too surprising. But I don't know about the Sven ban. I don't really think it's a hero that particularly gives their lineup trouble. They have a lot of mobility. They have a lot of disables already. And Sven's normally not that scary against heroes like that, but, you know, it's maybe just a hero they don't want to deal with, or they're just throwing away a ban because they don't really feel like they need it too much.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Oh, man! Okay, well, I guess it's a solo mid Shadow Fiend, and then... Or they could run dual lanes. They could put Bounty Hunter on the off lane. They could run Shadow Shaman with some kind of support just to keep him safe in the lane. And then Chaos Knight +1, maybe an Ancient Apparition for that support. And you can flip the lanes around too. You could have Chaos Knight, Ancient Apparition mid. That would probably make more sense. And then Shadow Fiend Rubik in the safe lane. That's one option. The other option would be the solo mid Shadow Fiend in a tri-lane. But solo mid Shadow Fiend, especially against a team that is Prophet, I think it's a little bit too easy to gank him. So I think we're going to see a Shadow Fiend plus Rubik in the safe lane, a Bounty Hunter off lane, and then a Chaos Knight, probably Ancient Apparition combo in the mid lane. Strong dual lanes. Rubik needs the levels. He should be able to find them. And I'm very interested to see that Mafia goes for Venge. Just getting the aura, I suppose, to combo up with Prophet and Shadow Shaman for the pushing power. I don't really feel like Swap brings a whole lot to the table this game. Maybe they're anticipating an Enigma pick. To be honest, there aren't that many strong supports left. I guess Crystal Maiden is the main one. So if you wanted to go Crystal Maiden, you could, but not when TNC take it. They don't opt for Ancient Apparition. They go for CM. Stronger offensively, not going to have as much of a mid-game presence as an AA, but more reliable in the laning stage. So I'm guessing CKC mid, and that's a very scary dual lane. And really, no one on this team can lane against that right now. How are they going to handle that mid lane? I don't see it. They don't really, even as a dual lane. I mean, I don't even, they don't even have two heroes they could dual lane mid. Faceless Void. Oh, baby. Now we have a Shadow Fiend. We got some swag there. And then we got the Hammerhead Shark himself being played by Nevexvek handling that Void. It sounds so Russian, actually, that name. It's funny. But, so two carries we don't see much out of. This is interesting. But what I'm wondering is how are they going to handle mid? I mean, maybe Void plus Venge, but it's not really as strong as CKCM. I don't know. We'll have to see what the lanes are going to be. It feels a little awkward right now. It feels a little clunky. Let's introduce the players. Neil Guapo, going to be handling that Vengeful Spirit. Nevexvek on the Faceless Void. Early Quelling Blade. Looks like they're going to dual lane top. Ming Z, lots of stats and regen picked up playing that Shadow Shaman. And it looks like a support tide, so I guess we're going to see a solo mid Shadow Shaman. No, it is a tri-lane. I thought they might do dual lanes after that last pick, but they're just going to risk it, putting the Shadow Fiend mid, and then I guess Mafia anticipates this, so they're fine throwing the Shadow Shaman there. This works out really well for both of these heroes. Shadow Fiend would not have fun soloing mid if there was two heroes mid, or even if there's roaming action. I feel like now there's going to be a decent amount of pressure on Shadow Fiend early on. Soloing the mid lane against the Prophet, against the Disables, could be pretty difficult for him. We'll see if they stick with the tri-lane, though. They may start off this way. Telekinesis onto the high ground is always something to be worried about. Well, they're not going to go for it just yet, but it's definitely an option for them. Alright, let's introduce the rest of the players. We have Javi playing the off-lane Prophet with an early magic wand. Maybe anticipating 2 or 3 heroes here. Bonjour Lay picks up the DD rune. Treant not able to deny it in time. Looks like he'll be soloing the safe lane. And that leaves us with Jesse Vash on the Shadow Fiend going solo mid. Cell playing the Rubik and the tri-lane. Cast the Captain handling the CM. Fox as well going to be in this tri-lane. And he will be the farmer, of course, in the Chaos Knight Ring of Protection picked up. So we have a Void Tidehunter Venge up against a CK CM. Not Rubik. Okay, they're going to go back and have him farm the safe lane, I guess. What is he up to? Oh, just placing a ward down. Okay, so are they going to try lane? They could have put that ward down earlier. I'm a little surprised they waited so long. Did get dewarded here, and that's why we see the extra ward being placed, but really took his time to do so. The ward is up now, though, so making sure the Shadow Fiend has some vision. You actually notice Jesse Vass already starting to stack up this camp. This is really intelligent play. As a solo mid Shadow Fiend, you're not going to farm these now, but you stack up the small camp a few times, and then once you get some levels, Shadow Raises can clear them out very quickly, and you get so many souls. Lots of small creeps that are easy to kill with Shadow Raise, but every one, no matter how big or how small, gives you a soul. So it's a great way to quickly max out your Necromastery, make sure that you have as much damage as possible, as well as get a little extra golden experience. And the other nice thing about it is you push the lane into the enemy tower, and then rather than farming unsafely on their side of the river, you can just sit back, go over here, kill off the neutrals, check the rune, and then do it. I mean, really whatever you want to do, but it just has good synergy as, well, my drawings are apparently going to be sort of overwhelmed by theirs. Okay, so since it is the tri-lane up top, this is a very dangerous, it's a very hard tri-lane for Mafia. They have one way to sort of counter-initiate, and that's to magic missile a hero that jumps in. But there's no, you know, it really feels like something like Earthshaker would have helped them more in this tri-lane, because it's double melee up against a Rubik CM Chaos Knight. Just so much lockdown, so much killing power. I gotta say I have a bad feeling about this tri-lane for Mafia. If their positioning is perfect, then they'll probably be okay, but I don't see them farming much here. They might be able to just do a lot of pulls and try and shut things down like that. Pulling the safe camp. That's the nice thing about the dire side. You can do the double pulls. The safe camp as well as the standard pull camp. These guys are really having a blast with their drawings. But as far as offensive tri-lanes go, this is a recipe for success for TNC, I gotta say. So I don't know if anybody has seen Shadow Fiend played competitively since the changes to him. He's been played a few times here and there, some of the European games, but he is so funny in the mid game. When you kill Shadow Fiend, once he has a point in Requiem for Souls, or Requiem of Souls, he explodes. His ult goes off, and I believe it explains it here. The half of the souls that you lose on death are released as if the spell was cast. So your ult, you can use it twice in a fight. But when you kill him, he pops like a balloon. It's really satisfying to kill the Shadow Fiend, as long as you don't die. It's one of these things where, like, if you start getting ahead of him and you can just quickly kill him off, oh, it's so much more satisfying and visceral just to see the way he explodes. It's like biting into a really juicy fruit or something. Just and really, you know, having a taste. And, well, I might as well get involved in this too. Yeah, you can see the players taking this one very seriously. I'm not, that's not me, that's the players drawing on the minimap, guys. It's definitely not me. Finally, we have our own pause, so we're going to find out exactly how strong this tri-lane is Fox. Farming a few creeps, the wave pushing quite hard now, and there's the cast ball at level 1. They want to go. I think that's a little bit of an overextension to be that aggressive at level 1. Remember, the mana pull for Chaos Knight is a concern. I feel you want to wait until you can actually get a kill. Don't just spam Chaos Bolt frivolously. But Void without the Quelling Blade, one thing that should be mentioned, when you're farming in a safe lane and you don't have a Stout Shield as a melee hero, you lose so much health to the creep wave. Once you get Backtrack leveled up, and let's say you get rid of health, it's not a big deal. But at this point, Void really can't tank the creep wave. But at the same time, they desperately need to pull, and they recognize it. That's why PackX probably going to stack and then pull that safe camp, or maybe not. But you can tell Mafia knows they really can't win this lane. That's why we see them very defensively postured at the tower, afraid to move out whatsoever. It's just not a matchup that can be won. Cast, or at least not through a head-to-head confrontation. Cast's going to check the 2-minute rune. Is it going to spawn top? No, a haste rune, but it spawns towards bottom. How are we doing in our mid lane? 6-2 on Jesse Vash, as well as Minzy 6-3. But Shadow Fiend trading evenly is good for Shadow Fiend. As long as you're keeping up, it's going to get easier and easier for you to last hit, getting more souls, getting more damage. And so Jesse Vash has to feel pretty good about this, because now his damage is higher than the Shadow Shamans. He's also got more spammable nukes. It's weird to say, because Aether Shock is normally a great harassment ability, quite spammable, but it's nothing compared to Shadow Rays, which is just so cheap and does so much damage for the cost. They continue to pull up top, just trying to avoid a fight as much as possible. Very important to keep vision up. We saw the dewarding from the Scourge, making sure, or from the Dire, making sure that they're playing with full understanding of what's going on. And I guess they actually feel it's not worth tri-laning top. They're sending Cast all the way bottom just to check the rune. Is that really what this is about? Because they do know the rune is here. They have this vision of it. Wow, they're going to get a first blood bottom. This should be the death of Prophet. It's a level 2 CM. Just need to wait on that Frostbite. Unbelievable. Cast journeys all the way down. No, is he going to die? Oh, Cast stopped auto-attacking. He thought he had him. Oh my god, I almost moved my camera away, but no, he is going to get the first blood in the end. Unbelievable. And is he even going to find the courier? Oh no, he didn't see that. They don't have vision of this ward. That would just be the biggest play if CM did that. Really though, I mean, recognizing that you have the strong tri-lane, and then journeying all the way to the bottom room because you know it's there, because you vision of the top to get a kill on Prophet, because he's a very easy hero to gank in the early levels. Incredible heads up play by Cast. Really well done. And starting his team off on a good track. Remember, TNC is up 1-0. They take this, they take the series, and they move on. And well, to some they were the favorites to win this, and they're looking pretty strong so far. Laning against Bounty Hunter is extremely aggravating, even as a normally very good harasser like Prophet, because what you do is you just constantly can walk up, invis, hit him with a Janata crit, and then he can't trade blows with you because he's already lost so much health in that first attack that with your very high base armor, 8 at level 5, just incredible agility and starting armor for Bounty Hunter. You can't trade blows, so even as a hero that's normally would beat most melees in a 1v1, the Prophet, you're forced back. Leaves Bonjour Light free to farm this lane. The rune did spawn top. It was a regen. Who actually picked it up? It looks like Shadow Fiend may have, or maybe one of the supports did. So they pull the way back. The one thing that is going well for Mafia is because that support actually left the bottom lane. Nope. Or top lane, but she came back. This should be another kill, I think. No, actually this time maybe not. Bonjour Light's in tower range. No, he should get out just in time. Oh, he can't run back into the lane, though. Because Cast left the top lane, as I was about to say, it really does free them up to farm the Void a lot more. 1,300 gold up on him, keeping pace with the Shadow Fiend despite having an abysmal start, which, well, it was inevitable. Again onto the Prophet, just such a nuisance. Another kill, making things happen. This CM play, very exciting so far. Not a hero you normally see have a big impact, but this game definitely is. I would even love to see a lane ward, just so they know whenever the Prophet is remotely near the creeps, but not needed so far. And now they have level 6, that's going to be track. That's going to make the next level of kills a lot easier to get. And now Shadow Fiend just caps out his souls immediately. This is the beauty of stacking up that small camp. Just so easy to get souls. It's even better than stacking up the big camps because you can just kill them much earlier. You don't have to blow as much mana. You don't have to tank the creeps. Just 3 raises, and then you're done. Now that he's level 7, you can stack anything. Stack the big creeps if you want. They've actually already been stacked once. Was that Jesse Vash who did that? I think it might have been. Because CM's been over the bottom, so yeah, must have been Shadow Fiend. Stacking the safe camp, also stacking the big camp, just sort of preparing himself to keep that farm as efficient as possible throughout the game. Really impressive stuff. Mafia going for a gank, but no smoke. This does not feel like a recipe for success, and worst off, they're going at 6:30 right before the ward dies. Normally this is a great time to go gank you, because the opponent's wards will be dead, but because they dewarded top, nope, we'll talk about it later, because Void is level 4 and barely surviving. Time walking out, salving up, and started with the broadsword. You know, it's the most expensive component of the Battle Fury he could afford at the time. So as far as wasting gold, it's pretty good. Prophet TP's in though. Cast, they really want to get this pesky Crystal Maiden. Has the smoke, has the boots, just juking like a boss, but there's the gush and sprouted up. This should be a dead CM. But look at this merry-go-round of a chase. 4 heroes just to kill a CM. Probably not worth it unless they get more. 1 raise, 2 raise, and the auto attack. Track onto Pack X. The CM illusion being microed for all it's worth. The wards get dropped, and they're ignoring the Shadow Fiend. The ward block, he's gonna live with barely any HP. No, he's not. The CM illusion snipes him. Oh, Cast, you are quickly becoming my favorite player. Oh my goodness, what a play by him, using that illusion rune. Getting the kill even after he's dead. Bounty Hunter living despite being dusted. Incredible play all around by TNC. I don't know how you run a 4-hero gank and that it works out so poorly. Well, I do. I mean, you know, Tidehunter's only level 4. He doesn't have Ravage online. But now there comes the big bad Shadow Fiend. Seen a couple. Oh, not gonna miss the first raise. Probably should have. No, can't really TP. Oh, missing again. The raises were good earlier, now whiffing a little bit, misfiring. If he had hit at least one of those, that probably would have been a kill. They're gonna dive top. Void is not having fun. The other downside to those 4 heroes bottom is Void has no lane control. He cannot lane against these heroes. There's the 3-second stun. Prophet TP's in, catches CM under the tower, but managing to live and turn this around with the Tranquil Boot armor, really helping to keep him alive. Void still alive, backtrack, time walk out, not enough. Reality rifted back in and killed off. He needs a life wrap, that's what he needs, not a... So in that sense, it is kind of a wrap. But here we go, Shadow Shaman. The Sprout and the Shackle is here. Not using the Shackle yet, not needing it. They get 2 in the DD rune, the Prophet, the counter gank potential of this team. Starting to kick in. Now they group up as quite a few heroes. The correct play here for Shadow Fiend is going to be just push the middle lane. You're not really a great team fighter at this point. You don't have a Blink, you don't have a BKB. Don't even really have any sort of survivability items. So I like this decision to split push out the lanes, avoid those fights. You pretty much lost this tower. Unless... Well, there's no Ravage, but the tower drops, and that TP probably should have been cancelled. They dusted! Oh, the track! Bonjourlet is overextended for this, and he should die here. Just wants the Prophet before he does. He's not going to get him the Frostbite Will. Zapped up by Cell, hitting level 6. Could look to steal something. What is he going to grab? Nothing yet. There's your Gush. Telekinesis in 1 second. 1 second, but no TP, and he's trapped. This is just a matter of time before he dies. One more zap. Meanwhile, Chaos Knight killing off the CM. Fox looking to retreat out of here. Tidehunter hit 6 off of that fight, so now there is a Ravage to worry about. There's a Ravage and there's a Chronosphere. The question is, where's the damage? It's really about the wards and the Prophet ult. If those 2 are up, then you can do some really good damage, but otherwise, not so sure you're going to be able to find kills in these fights. At least not as many as you would like. Jesse Vash, oh, he gets chronoed. Remember, Void's bashes do double damage in the Chronosphere, but he doesn't have a point in bash. Doesn't need it. Prophet joins in. Okay, maybe I was wrong about the damage. That Shadow Fiend, one of his weaknesses as a hero, we're seeing it right now. He is outrageously squishy, just bad strength gain. Something stolen. Oh, what a play by Cell. Stealing the Chronosphere, and that's going to have to be... Void had no choice there. He couldn't even cast it. Chrono could be dropped to deny this tower, as well as set up some kills. Instead, I think he's going to be forced to waste it. No, he dies without using it. No, he gets it off. Then dies anyway for his trouble.
To the abyssal pain.
Good thing they had this ward here. That gave them vision to spot Rubik coming around. Otherwise, he could have circled around, dropped the Chronosphere right here, denied the tower while the enemy team is disabled, and gotten away. So this Observer ward playing huge dividends in that fight. Such a back and forth game, and really dead even as well. It is a good point from the chat that Void is immune to his Chronosphere, but that's not going to stop the Chronosphere from trapping everyone else in it. And really, if it's just a Void trying to get a last hit on the tower when there's 3 or 4 other heroes here, most likely they should be able to deny it. So it's true, it's good to mention though, Void cannot be trapped by his own Chronosphere now, but nonetheless, could have really made a difference there. Doesn't work out, tower drops bottom, and they're starting to use these wards very effectively, only really using them for towers now. They get the tier 1 mid, now they get the tier 1 bottom. And TNC's map control seems to be slipping away a little bit. Aggressive ward placement here.
Dire's structures are fortified.
He's trying to spot some vision, spot the movement around the map from the Prophet. And I'm starting to wonder what he's building towards. Shadow Fiend running for his life. He has picked up the Shadow Amulet. Is going to use it to fade away. Do they have detection? Oh, yes, they do. Oh, no, they don't. Yes, they do. There's the dust. Finally, it shows up. I knew someone had it. TP in from Prophet. That should be the death of Shadow Fiend. And again, pop him like a piñata. A tasty little treat. It's a juicy fruit, except it doesn't look very appetizing. It's like, I don't know, maybe licorice or something? Are there any black fruits that are good? It's one of the questions for the chat out there. I certainly don't know of any, as Vengeful Spirit will die mid. The double nuke combo, the Frostbite, the Crystal Nova,
Top tower is
as well as just the Chain Stun coming out from the CK. Black cherries are delicious, I am being told. That is true. I like my blackberries, and I guess that's sort of a black fruit, but it's not like one of those big fruits that you can really take a big bite out of. I don't know. I'm thinking of like an apple, except black, like a Shadow Fiend. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So as far as net worth goes, lead farmer is going to be the CK, immediately followed actually by the Shadow Fiend, and they're doing this despite only having 1 tower. And in fact, 2 towers claimed, or well, that's not where a tower is. 2 towers claimed by the Dire. So in spite of the tower advantage, the carries for this team are the 2 lead farmers right now. Wards are up. I think they could make a go towards Roshan here, having the Wave of Terror, having the wards online. Void really trying to get this Battle Fury up, and in spite of having such a rough lane, Vec is not far off of it. 1 auto attack to start. There's your track coming out, just to make sure that Void can't actually leave the tower, can't really defend it either. But the immediate TPs, they're not going to give this one up without a fight. They know they have the Shadow Shaman wards. They know they should be able to defend it. Meanwhile, Chaos Knight trapped inside the trees. Reality Rift to pull himself out, but then in comes the Vengeful Spirit. Stun, and not getting enough crits. Not enough luck on his side. The Chaotic Knight is now a dead knight. Faceless Void, very close to the Battle Fury. Still farming up top. Bounty Hunter not really finding as many kills, not as much aggression as he would like. Only 1, 1, and 2, which in a game where your team is 10 kills, you would like for him to be more involved. Especially getting level 6. He got it really fast. Then has slowed down quite a bit. This is an interesting item pickup from Mafia. Battle Fury on the Void, as well, or soon to be on the Void, as well as getting a Necro Book on Prophet. It tells you this team is angling for a longer game, it looks like. Chrono catches 2. Rubik could look to steal this, I think, but even if it does, it wouldn't matter. No, was Time Walk used afterwards? No, he gets the Chrono, and then catches 2. Beautiful Chrono for Shadow Fiend to do the dirty work, do the big damage, and they'll get the right clicks. Double kill for Jesse Bash. Pack X comes in late. Anchor Smash canceled. And absolute chaos. Look at the nukes from Jesse Bash. Triple kill. Call it an ultra kill. Jesse Bash missed a couple raises earlier, but boy is he showing off now. And all of a sudden, 14-11. How do you win a team fight when there's a Chronosphere and a Ravage? Well, you steal that Chronosphere. And then you have Jesse Vash playing Shadow Fiend. And now you're looking pretty good. Swaggering back to base. Just strutting his stuff. Oh, God, I love Shadow Fiend's hero animations. Well, it wasn't Shadow Fiend who popped that time. Faceless Void still trying to finish that Battlefield, and he comes to Janata track as well, stealing off something. You can't re-steal the same spell and then get the cooldown refresh. What you can do is steal another spell, then steal Chronosphere again, and you'll get the fresh cooldown. But in this case, just steals Chronosphere directly after already having it, so it doesn't refresh the cooldown. Unfortunately. But the nice thing about Chronosphere is the cooldown is so damn low, as far as an ult goes, that you can really just sit on it and have it up well in time for the next team fight.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Shadowblade's been up on Jesse Vash. Worth mentioning, this got a recent buff in 6.75. The attack speed on it is significantly higher. And going for a very aggressive build. Boots of Travel to split push, split farm, kind of to get that profit. Having Boots of Travel in your Shadow Fiend and having a Bounty Hunter means there is a pretty high chance you're going to be able to see the profit, have Bounty Hunter walk in invis, and then Shadow Fiend just TPs over to that side of the map, and then Shadow Blades in. So I really like this to deal with the profit, to deal with the split push. The one downside is if it comes to clashes, Boots of Travel do basically nothing for you. It gives you decent movement speed. Not that great. So you're picking this to farm, you're picking this to find small scale engagement ganks. BKB coming soon on Fox. A nice item, but remember there's still Chronosphere. There's still a lot of ways to stun before you can actually pop the BKB, which are reliable. The Hex, the Magic Missile, the Shackle, all these pretty good. And if you don't get the BKB off, it doesn't do a whole lot for you. So it's a nice item pickup this game, but not guaranteed to be game breaking by any means.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
DD Rune bottled up by Jesse Vash, and now he wants to set up something mid. Oh, they spotted him. They could probably kill him off here. They have detection, I believe. Gem on Mini Z, or Min Z. They're going to jump in. Chrono gets dropped. Plenty of disables. This is a dead Shadow Fiend. The Shackles afterwards knock him to walk away, but even when he dies, he makes you pay a little bit as a melee hero. Getting picked off there. Net worth, Shadow Fiend really pulling ahead. In spite of the fact that he just died, he's almost up 2.2k after that ultra kill. Gold-wise, experience-wise, pretty significant lead. I really hope Void has used Time Walk after Chronosphere. Actually, in that fight, I believe he did, but would be a shame if Rubik stole the Chrono again and was able to refresh it. Cooldown is running low. I think maybe you try and force a fight now while you have Chrono. The problem is you don't have Shadow Fiend, so I guess you really can't in the end, which is a bit of a shame. Still a significant lead for the Viridian, but not an overwhelming one. And up against such a strong late game lineup with so many AoE teamfight ults and a Prophet, plus possibly the best support here in the game in Shadow Shaman with 2 disables and a great ultimate for pushing and providing damage. It's not guaranteed that TNC can win this, even having a decent lead. Bonjourlais continues to just stalk Vex Vec all over the map. He wants some help. He's not really going to be able to kill him, but I think more just trying to limit his farm. Meanwhile, mid lane Fox held in place. Again, BKB. Not going to do anything for you if you get caught out by the Hex, and that's what happened. Get Hex, Magic Missiled, shackled up, and then killed off. Void, okay, for a second I thought he killed the Bounty Hunter, but no, Bounty Hunter's just left that for the moment. This is what these two want to do. Work as a tandem, use the Shadow Blade and the track to kind of catch him out. Unfortunately, he was spotted, and every time they go for these ganks now, Mafia is seeing them and killing them. Time Walk away, Chrono's cooling down, Shadow Fiend Lothar's is in, or uses that Shadow Blade to getting close, but now he's trying to run the Necro Book. It's not a Necro 3 yet, only Necro 2. Doesn't give you that true sight but on the Warrior, but nonetheless TPing forward on the Bonjourlais. Time Walk in, Chrono just to try and kill him off. This could be a mistake. Where is that Rubik? He's nowhere nearby. So that's a kill for a Chrono. Needs to make sure to Time Walk afterwards. Don't want to give that back. I keep on saying it because it seems to happen quite a lot. I mean, if you guys think Ravage is stolen too often, Chronosphere gets stolen all the time. Sure, you can't trap Void, but trapping his team, we have seen, can really set up Shadow Fiend.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Mafia, despite being down 0-1, are looking pretty comfortable right now. A decent amount of gold behind, a lot of that's track gold. And these are also heroes that don't really scale very well. Particularly the CM, not going to do much in the mid to late game. Same for the Bounty Hunter. Very limited in what he can do up against all these disables, up against Chronosphere. And so I think it's a pretty comfortable position for Mafia. They're really not feeling too nervous right now, or they shouldn't be anyway. TPN for the Prophet. Needs to pop the dust. Jesse Vash runs back in. Now he's sprouted. There's no Chrono, but this should be him dead. Actually, in comes CK. Head full of steam. BKB'd. They thought the Void was dead. They don't actually get him, and then they come back and pull him off. Prophet barely escapes with his life. Now Fox gonna kill up that Necronomicon Warrior, and he pays for it heavily. Takes a lot of damage, gets a lot of gold. 10-second BKB charge, but they do get the Faceless Void. Now the BKB of the Shadow Fiend is coming soon. It happens all the time when you're playing against Void, though. You think he's dead. Any hero with evasion or backtrack, you assume he's dead. So they have more dust. Just doing such a great job of picking these heroes off. Mafia's 4 supports just doing an incredible job this game. Constantly finding kills. And really forcing TNC back. And TNC is the lineup that wanted to be on the offensive. They have the Bounty Hunter. They have the Shadow Blade Shadow Fiend. That's got a nice little ring to it. Shadow Blade Shadow Fiend. Who, in spite of his many deaths, still has the most net worth in the game. The silly thing about Shadow Fiend, though, is even with all of these items, he could still easily be brought down. If he gets Chronosphere or he gets Chain Stun, he's dead from full health. Yeah, whereas for a hero like Void, because he's got Backtrack and Chrono, it's a lot harder to bring him down, and he can bring a lot more to the team fight with less items. And if he had the items that Shadow Fiend did, if he had a BKB right now, it would be almost impossible to kill him off. I wonder what the Void's going to go for next. Normally you'd expect to see probably a BKB, I would say, just because there's so many nukes and so much magical damage and so many disables. But even getting something like a Manta style wouldn't be bad. Mask of Madness is occasionally a choice, although I really don't think it's a good decision in this game when there's so much burst. But he is a bit of a ways off that next item. He continues to die, and 3-3-1, not going to cut it, especially when you're up against the Shadow Fiend getting track gold with an Ultra Kill earlier. It will be a while before he can really contribute in these fights, aside from the Chrono. His damage output, just not that high right now. I just want to point out, this is what happens when you lose all your outer towers early, or start to lose them. The tier 1's dead top, the tier 2 is dead top, tier 1 mid is gone, tier 1 bottom is gone. These towers give you vision all the way out to here. I mean, yes, there are dead spots, there are dark areas, particularly here and here. We don't really have too much vision. But you have this outer perimeter that sort of gives you some idea of what's going on. Once you lose that outer perimeter, and the enemy team is global heroes, they're constantly smoky, they're constantly ganking and being the aggressors in the game, it really becomes unsafe to leave your base. That's why we see them moving as 4 or 5 heroes constantly, just trying to find pickoffs, protecting Jesse Vash. They know he needs to get more farm. And it's the difference between a hero like Shadow Fiend and Void. Void, they're a little bit more comfortable leaving him off on his own because he has the mobility skill, he's got the big AoE disable if he needs to try and run away. Shadow Fiend TP's in mid, but then the team immediately follows him. It kind of defeats the point. Here comes the big backstab, though. Shackle to start. Necro 3 gets dropped. BKB in. Ravage not going to stun the Shadow Fiend, but swap to disable his ult. Oh, what a swap. Maybe that's what they had in mind, even though the Shadow Fiend was picked afterwards, I believe. And the Tidehunter drops down as well. And Chronosphere in. Want to go to work on that Shadow Fiend. Double kill. Though pops him again. It doesn't matter, though. Chaos Knight needs to get this kill, but can't. Too many stuns. That's 5 heroes dead. Team wipe for Mafia, who are on the verge of driving this into a deciding game number 3. This will be the first GST qualifier where I've seen it go to 3 games. A little bit of all talk, a little bit of smack talk coming out now from Jave. Who can blame him? He's feeling pretty confident. He's like, sup, buddy? we're ready to go towards your racks. Now, they're not going to get it just yet. But a 5-man team wipe, and if that Shadow Fiend ult doesn't get canceled there, I think it goes a lot worse for Mafia. A really well-timed swap by Neil Guapo. Very well done.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
TP straight into the Roshan pit, create those treants. Necronomicon 3 cooling down soon. They got the tier 2, so even less map control coming out. And what do you know? A double damage rune for the Faceless Void, as well as a Mask of Madness.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It's even more cost effective than it used to be, because when enemies are in Chronosphere, your bash now does double damage.
Roshan has fallen to the dire.
Only when they're in Chronosphere though. Time Walk in, wants to try and make a go here. Not gonna actually find anyone, but swap in on Cat, who got spotted out up here on the high ground. BKB from Fox, charges in, creates the illusions. Gotta focus down these squishy supports with all the disables. The gem is on the floor. In comes Shadow Fiend, BKB'd, but not doing anything. Where is that ult? I think he's expecting the swap, but the swap was already used, so he pops the BKB. He charges in, and well, then he runs away. Did they kill the gem? That's the other question right now. No, it's picked back up by the Prophet and deposited safely in the base. I'm not sure a double BKB charge is worth killing off a CM. Or is worth killing off a Shadow Shaman, I mean. But they get something at least. Jesse Vash picks up a Talisman of Evasion. Probably going to be a Butterfly. Could be a Heaven's Halberd. Chronosphere does disable evasion, same with Hex as well, so I'm not sure this is going to do much from that standpoint. Of course, Butterfly gives you a lot of attack speed and damage, and Heaven's Halberd does make you quite a bit tankier just with the HP bonus that it gives you. But as far as the evasion goes, it's not going to offer much. The other thing is disabling the Void's auto attacks for a couple of seconds is extremely valuable, so maybe it's a Halberd.
Regeneration.
Pretty comfortable position right now for the Radiant, or for the Dire. The Radiant are the ones who are really feeling the pressure. I'm not sure if there's another level of items that's going to help them out a lot. Maybe if the CK can get really big. I just don't think Shadow Fiend's going to be able to do much, though. He's just not a naturally tanky hero. Again, the evasion does not going to do that much for you. I guess if you farm something big like a heart, you have to find a way to be able to tank through the Chronosphere, survive, and then do damage. Because it just it ruins your ability to team fight and to get your ultimate off, to really do what you want to do, dropping raises, using that Requiem of Souls. And there's no item that really solves it. I mean, even something like a Hex might be what they need. But the problem is they're two heroes who are natural Hex carriers. The Rubik as well. LCM's not a natural Hex carrier, but she can build one. They're supports. They're not going to be able to farm them in a timely fashion. And without a Hex, there's just no way to lock down the Void and prevent him from dropping Chrono. Stealing it back can negate it for the most part, but it's feeling very tough right now for TNC. Prophet ult bouncing through, doing a decent amount of damage, getting the lanes pushed out a little bit. Both teams playing 5-man Dota, and it looks like they're about to go for a smoke on the Mafia side. They de-ward here. Oh no, they have the gem, so they knew it, that hill was cleared. Necro 3 has been up on the Prophet, not getting a Hex soon, and it's an Aghanims. Not really the Burning build quite, but somewhat similar. Maybe we'll see the Aghanims Refresher from this Void. The Burning build, for anyone who's wondering, is he goes for Midas, Battle Fury, and then Aghanims Refresher. It's a ridiculous team fight build. It's just all about the team fight for Burning. It actually failed pretty badly after an incredible start for him once, and it succeeded the other game, but his team basically already won before he got those items anyway. So it's definitely a build that can go either way. But just getting Aghanims alone is quite a useful pickup. Really does improve the ult a lot. It brings the cooldown to a minute instead of 100 seconds. And that is a Naga ult, except your team can do damage during it. Absolutely insane. Once the Aghanims is online, good luck winning a fight. And then it's not enough to win one. You got to win two, because he's probably going to live, escape, and then, because he has the Aegis especially, and then come back in the next fight and be able to drop another Chrono. Mechanism even coming up soon for Vengeful Spirit. Despite playing that hard support role, constantly getting wards, we have an Ags up on the Shadow Shaman, and now they're just going to start really pressuring towers, knocking down the tier 2 bottom, but they are giving up a tier 2 top. Overall, decent trade for both teams. The thing is, I don't think Mafia stops here. Aghanim's is being flown out, I believe, momentarily. No, just waiting at the side shop. 300 gold to go. They're going to force some TPs. They are not going to back off, at least not until they get them. Void walking to range. Wards get dropped. They're going to commit to this. 2 waves of trans come through. Really take up the creep wave. But oh my god, the bounces from that Rubik's Fade Bolt really limiting the ability to get into the base. Prophet ult bounces through. What has Rubik managed to steal? Nothing so far. Something should be coming soon. Void waiting in the background. He's got Chrono. BKB. Ravage. Not going to do a thing in that fight. And then stolen by Rubik. Blink back by Cell. Ravage the other way. And there's still no Chrono. Vec is just waiting for his opening, but waited too long. He hasn't. Now Rubik could actually look to steal a Chronosphere if he wants, but no, I don't think he's going to. Pitcher's Prophet gets thrown back, tracked, Bounty Hunter giving chase, no BKB yet. There's your Chrono, and it's going to work down on the Rubik. Rubik gets killed off, so not able to steal Chrono this time. Time walk away, TP out. Will they be able to kill him off? Is there a Frostbite? No, already just used on cooldown. Which leaves Prophet in a bit of a pickle. And by that I mean, he's turned into a pickle and delivered back to Mafia. TP away. What a time to steal Ravage. It's very important they killed him off there, because otherwise he'd have Ravage in the next fight too. Blink and Ravage. Just insanely strong combo. Void does have his Aghanims up now, so now working with that 1 minute cooldown, you can just use the ult to get solo kills at this point. Get a solo kill, and then you're either going to push another tower, or by the time you get to their base, you'll have it up again, or just use the ult to run away, and then still have it to defend the base. It really opens up your options. The cooldown is now so low that you never really have to worry about it being down when a big team fight happens. Gem now given over to the Void. I guess they don't think anyone else can survive too well. An understandable feeling. Jesse Vash just farming so incredibly well. 300 CS in 34 minutes, which is it's not the most farm that you'll ever see on a Shadow Fiend, but he's getting a lot of track kills. He's participating in team fights. He's baiting out spells. He's kind of initiating in a way with the BKB and the Shadow Blade. So he's just been a very, for the level of activity that we've seen out of him, he's just been very efficient with his time. Butterfly up, Crystal is now to follow, and actually he's so far ahead in terms of damage items, it's starting to look like Void may not be able to outcarry him. At least not without catching him in Chronosphere, and this is a bad start to the fight. Oh man, Neil Guapo gets caught out. Is Jesse Vash really going to pull this one back along with his squad, his merry band of players? The creep wave going to be mowed down quite easily by those Shadow Raises, and now a little bit of a push happens towards the middle lane. Working away on that catapult, banging away on it, going to pick it off. And now with this next wave, they can really start to do some damage. Rubik, nothing stolen on him, but notice how he's waiting and on the sidelines just to blink in and steal something. Whether it's Chrono, whether it's Ravage, everybody is waiting. It's like they have an agreement. We'll wait here, you wait there, but now with track, there is no more waiting for this team. And meanwhile, the tower is easily taken by Jesse Vash. Really smart positioning in that fight from both teams. Just knowing that if Jesse Vash gets caught, it's okay as long as the rest of your team is able to support him, steal the important ultimates with the Rubik, and turn the fight around. They want to go Roche, but it's actually not up yet. Almost 2 minutes to go. Chronosphere. just catching out Bounty Hunter. Oh, this is bad. Stolen back by Rubik. Can easily catch quite a few heroes. Ravage is going to drop, and they need to kill off Cell, so he can't steal that Ravage back. He will drop, but he caught quite a few with that. BKB on the Bounty Hunter, and 2 heroes dying. This is looking atrocious. They still haven't dealt with the Shadow Feed, and in he comes! Jesse Bash doing so much damage, not getting the kills. It's going to be a team wipe. Oh, that bad chrono. Yes, you can use the chrono to get small pickoffs, but not when Rubik is there to steal it. Oh, a total disaster. And TNC been in a bit of a bad spot for the mid game, but you can look at the graph. They had a bit of a big lead, then they sort of threw it away. Jesse Vash had his ultra kill, then he slowed down. But now, man, are they in control of this one. Right back into it, and it's all about the Rubik. It is all about this hero. And you can see that it's not enough that Void can still move in Rubik's Chronosphere. It ruins the rest of the team. And it's one of these things where it's a nice change in the patch, but I'm not convinced that it's sufficient. I still feel Rubik is just such a powerful counter to Void. Hell, he sort of counters everyone, but especially a hero like Void, because that ult is so damn easy to steal. Either way, great play by the Rubik, and kind of sloppy from the Void, and it was punished severely. Now the Daedalus is complete for Jesse Vash, and if you compare the damage of this Shadow Fiend to the Void, well, it's not even a competition anymore. $22,000 net worth for the Shadow Fiend. Just such a big lead at this point in the game. 10k lead over the next closest farmers. Almost has the net worth of the CK and the Void combined. Bounty Hunter's dead as well. Getting caught out. This is something they need. They gotta find these small scale picks. Ideally you catch out the Rubik. And now they go into Roche. TNC had a great fight, but unfortunately didn't turn it into a Roshan until kill. We're not able to convert it, and now it means an Aegis on the Void, which means we're probably going to see 2 Chronos from him in the next fight, over the course of that full fight. Heart of Tarask is the item of choice for CK, but not going to get it yet. Roshan dropping low, they're not going to contest this. Now an Aegis on the Void, and I think Mafia is feeling a little bit under the gun. They're going to start to push bottom. It's weird to say when a team has Void, they have Prophet, who should have a Hex by now. He does have the Hex. Just picked it up, actually. When you have all these amazing teamfight heroes, the supports that have great utility spells and abilities like the Vengeance Star, like the Hex on the Shadow Shaman, and so many teamfight ults, you really think that they can win in the late game, and that they wouldn't feel like they have to force the issue, but the issue is the Shadow Fiend and the CK are just so fat. CK just scales better with items than Void as far as you're being a hero. Because he's got these illusions, you can get these cheap, cost-effective items that also give you tons of damage through your ultimate. And especially the Shadow Fiend just having so much farm. It's a rare case where Faceless Void might not be the strongest late game hero on the map, even with a lot of items. And certainly not with his item selection, where he's gone for 6k gold into items that don't really give you amazing damage. It's more about just lockdown with the Mask of Madness, and with the Aghanims, much more about the teamfight presence. The other weird downside to Aghanim Scepter is it also makes Rubik's Chronosphere stronger. Speaking of Rubik, we can't zoom in on him. Nice little spot for the Rubik. Now, you're up against the Vengeful Spirit, so a well-placed Howl this way can really do wonders to shut him down. I want to see how aggressive they're going to be. I wonder if it's enough for him to just jump in now and try and go. It looks like he's being a little more patient. I think you do need to be more patient at this point. Notice how Shadow Fiend isn't really going to be there at the start of the fight. He shows up afterwards. Now they go on the Shadow Shaman. The Chaos Bolt gets cancelled. Instead goes for Tide. They want to get the Rasta, and they get him with a 1k crit from Jesse Vash. And that should be the end of the fight. Void has still not used his chrono. He's being patient. He actually knew where Rubik was, or maybe not. He just time walked in here to try and get away, I think, and actually ends up getting caught out. Not backtracking anything. Now he comes back to life after losing up the Aegis. The rest of his team is gone or dead, and that means that Void is on his own. Chronos his way out of this one, trying to survive. Mask of Madness for the move speed. And now TNC poised really to turn this game around. Despite losing melee Rex, they get rid of the Aegis. Now they chase the Void. They're going to get probably 3 kills out of this. Shadow Blade and another kill, and that's a gem down as well. The gold graph, look at the difference and then add 1400 because that is a gem handed off from Mafia to TNC. So 700 gold out of Mafia's pocket, 700 into TNC. So this gold differential is now even 1400 gold bigger, almost up to 14,000, which isn't the biggest differential for this point in the game, but quite substantial. And really being felt where it hurts the most, which is in the pockets of the carries. I don't know what Have had in mind, or Jave had in mind, but he's gonna pay for that. Jesse Vash gets another kill. Chrono, stolen by Rubik, yet again! Doesn't actually trap the Void, not the best Chrono. Ravage gets dropped as well. The Bounty Hunter was already inside the Chronosphere anyway. Now the BKB, and the heart is up, but there is no Phantasm. Thank God if you're on Mafia, because otherwise you just get wiped. Chrono's traded evenly, but now with none of the ults up, it's gotta favor TNC, not nearly as reliant on their ultimates. Especially having the Shadow Fiend. Would really like to see Jesse Vash join his team, especially with the ults being down. There's no reason not to. Only 30 seconds till the Chrono's back. Wards get dropped, trying to just defend the base.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
We're getting into the late game here, folks, but, well, I guess the split push is going to work. Jesse Vash banging away on the tier 3, forcing the rotation in. As soon as I go to look at that, Fox gets another kill. Monster kill for him. 13, 5, and 5. Vengeful Spirit comes in, drops the magic missile, wants to maybe go on Fox. Fox dropping low, might have to TP out to base. He does have the Heart of Tarrasque, so he can heal up. Urn as well, Urn and Heart of Tarrasque. He's going to be regenning at an absolutely insane rate, 74 HP per second. This has bought time for them to use the Chronosphere. The problem is that nobody can stop this push by the Shadow Fiend alone, except for Void. With the Chrono, notice he's not evading anything. Such a powerful counter to evasion, and that forces a buyback. The nice thing for him is he comes back into this fight and he doesn't have to worry about Chrono, and meanwhile Fox has not been dealt with. Now the Glyph is finally used up, with no Ravage, with no Chrono. 40 seconds to go, an army of CKs just butchering the Prophet! Oh god, lop his head off they say, and then they continue going. Void jumps in again, this time no Chrono, kills off the illusions, but now he'll pay. Chrono stolen again by Cell, or I believe he just stole it. Maybe he just had his own Chrono cooldown ready. Catches out too, no backup, but this buys time. Get the Rex in the bottom lane, might even be able to go mid, and now Void's gonna punish this insolence from Rubik, but it's okay. They got the Rex, they got what they came for. So now it's bottom Rex traded for bottom Rex, even trade in that respect. And they're going to be content with the result and back off. Thought they might force things a little more there. There isn't a Glyph. There was 2 heroes dead. And sure, there were a couple heroes dead for TNC. I guess the big thing is that if Shadow Fiend dies, he doesn't have buyback because it's on cooldown. So for that reason, TNC is going to opt to play it safe. But I really think they could have been a little more aggressive there, and it probably would have worked out. Smoke up from Mafia. They want to get something going mid. Lack of Blink Dagger and Shadow Shaman does appear to be hurting them a little bit. Sentry Ward dropped in the lane. Now going to lurk on the high ground, just trying to make sure that they're not going to be spotted roaming through the jungle. But the gem immediately is going to get rid of that. Cast and his crew just gonna charge down mid. Ravage is up now. There is a Ravage, there's a Chronosphere. Everyone's smoked up, but all eyes have to be on this Rubik. What can he steal? What can he do to set his team up in this team fight? Just arriving now is Cell, Blink Dagger, and Force Step. All the good support utility items to try and set things up. I hear a swap. I see a Fox. Bashed up. Brought down. Does he even have buyback? No buyback on him. What a pick. Godlike streak ended and caught without buyback.
My thanks.
Had just bought another Reaver. Wow. Wow. Reaver. Reaver and double dataless. Okay, well, I suppose that means he has a lot of damage now. This guy likes his crits. That's pretty clear as well. Double Daedalus and the Reaver buy. Jesse Vash, sure he didn't have buyback, but it's cooling down in 2 minutes, and now he's guaranteed he won't have it for a long time. TNC, it almost is starting to feel like this TNC squad is like a little overconfident right now. This could really cost them. They're up against a team that only needs to have a decent start to a fight to just overwhelm you. Now the wards get dropped, Necro 3 thrown in, and they're just going to look to pressure this Rax Void, waiting for the right opportunity. He's only got a Chrysalis. As long as he catches... Oh, another Swap! Swap is winning them this game right now. First the Chaos Knight, now they get the Bounty Hunter. The Glyph is forced out. Mask of Madness used by the Void. I think they should back off. They really need that Mask of Madness cooldown. The tower falls. Shrek onto an Invectus Vec. A furious, a desperate struggle by both teams to seize control of this game. If you expect a game to go 47 minutes, that's where Vengeful Spirit is probably the best support in the game to have because of Swap. Just allowing you to instantly pick off a core hero of theirs. But that's only if you get to the 47-minute mark, where she's actually got enough levels and enough items to be able to do this sort of thing. So you can't really bank on it, but it's working out so far for Mafia. I'm not sure they can bring the CK down anymore. He's got 4k HP, 4,000 health, 16 armor, smoking right by a Sentry Ward. Do they just want to backdoor the Rax? There's no glyph. This could actually work, especially with Phantasm. Oh, this is a Whoa Dota moment. Whoa Dota, Whoa Dota. Here we go. Whoa, baby, coming in. Drop that Phantasm. Go to work. Bring down that... Oh, they want the Shadow Shaman. I think this is a mistake to dive this too far. Just get the Rax. Boy jumps in, gets a couple, but doesn't get Cell. The Chrono... Oh, does he not know about the new patch? It does nothing really for Cell. Wasted that Chrono, but it's okay. One auto attack to kill him off, and the Smoke Gank might be enough to win this game. Buyback from Void, but without the Chrono, instantly 2 lanes of Rax down. And now the Fox getting caught out. BKB up. 1,400 damage. Jesse Vass with a triple. Wants that Ultra. Diving the Fountain. How far will he go? How deep will he go for this? Not deep enough. I think it's time for Mega Creeps, and I think it is actually time to proclaim our champions for the GEST Dota 2 Philippines qualifiers. It is going to be TNC. This ragtag band of, I think, somewhat underappreciated players who haven't been seen really playing Dota 1 at all, at least not as a group, but in Dota 2, looking incredibly strong, really making their presence felt. And now they're going to move on into the main event, the Philippines representative, one of the most impressive teams I've personally watched so far. Chrono catching out Rubik. Void is so tired of having that stolen. Meanwhile, Jesse Vash getting that kill at the Fountain. Void just sort of chilling here, waiting for the inevitable, waiting for Jesse Vash to show up and kill him off. One auto attack, not quite enough. Now the Shadow Blade giving chase, wanting to kill Navex Vec, just needs one auto attack, getting juked, getting fogged. Is he going to actually escape? Doesn't matter, the Mega Creeps are here. No, Shadow Fiend finds him. I think he got him with the raise, or maybe it was the auto attack. Either way, that is a kill. Ha ha, he says. Ha ha, indeed. And at long last, the Fountain camping can begin. The GGs came out, which means, well, it means that the Fountain camping can begin. That's really what it means. You know, all that Jesse Vash really needs is another Daedalus at this point. That's what he's really lacking. One-shotting the Prophet. Just unbelievable. Or basically one-shotting him anyway. Shadow blading in. Just waiting for someone to respawn. He's gonna spot the bench. Swapped into the Fountain. Great little swap. Godlike kills the bench with the crit as well as the explosion. That is a pinata filled with nails. Not something you actually want to knock open, or you're just gonna get nailed in the face. Shadow Fiend gonna kill up the throne, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Your GEST Dota 2 Philippine qualifier champions. It is TNC. They take this series 2-0 over Mafia. Incredible play by both teams. In spite of the fact that Mafia got swept, you gotta take your hat off to Cell's Rubik. Really did the trick for their team this game. Stealing Ravage, stealing Chronosphere, and allowing his team to hang on in the late game, and making up single-handedly for the fact that they had no team fight. They didn't have a Chronosphere, they didn't have a Ravage, except with Rubik, you do. What a series, what a game. I hope you guys enjoyed this cast. we are done for today. There's no more GEST action. Everyone can finally go to bed and get some much-needed rest. I have been your host, LD of dotacommentaries.com. Please, if you enjoy my cast, go ahead, follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/ldDOTA, or Twitter, twitter.com/ldDOTA. If you missed any of today's games, you'd like to catch up on the VODs, or it was too laggy for you to watch, go to youtube.com/ldDOTA. You can subscribe to me there, and all of today's exciting games, and boy, except for the first game, they were all pretty fantastic and interesting to watch. You can catch all the action there. But that is going to wrap it up for today's cast. Thank you all very much for joining me. If you want to hang around for a little bit, I'll be chatting for a few moments. I might be casting something with Purge soon, which would probably be for Gosu League, some European Dota. So if you want to stick around, I'll let you guys know if I'm doing that. I'll probably be running a few ads, so if you want to support me, and you're in a region that gets ads, well, I'd appreciate it. But either way, guys, thanks all for joining me, and I'll see you next time.